So here's a quick little tutorial on how to do kind of what you're thinking of, and the key to having like taking over something is something called a pawn, and we can create a very simple one by just doing create blueprint pawn, and pawns are anything that you want to possess, so I'll just go ahead and do box pawn. And then to kind of get an idea of what you're doing, we're going to add a camera. Now the default pawn is very basic. It doesn't handle any kind of movement or anything like that. But I'm just going to create a very simple static. It's going to have a static mesh. And that static mesh will just have a cube. Obviously this is beyond simple, but I'll go ahead and actually show you a more advanced version here in a second. So there's our very basic pawn. And I'm going to go ahead and create a new player controller. And a player controller, and it's just going to be based off of our current one. There's a few different ways you could do this, but create player controller. That's weird. Okay, new. And the reason why is since we're going to be switching our, like, possessing different things, the player controller never really changes. It's just saying who controls what. So I'll do, when you press E, actually let me do something that's, let's see, 1. So when I press 1, and then I'll do 2, just so we can show this. And you could set it up so that if you wanted to add a collision inside of that box pawn, like if they're within that box collision, then we'll check to see who they're overlapping with, or kind of more advanced things, but the root of what you're looking for is possession. Oops, possesses. So we're going to change possession. So I'm going to get all actors of class. So this is kind of the basic get 0. We're just getting the first one. Okay. So what we're doing is when we press 1, it's going to get all the actors of that box pawn class. It's going to get the first one it finds, which only have 1. And it's going to tell the controller, hey, you go possess that new box. And then when we press 2, I'll go ahead and actually flip it back the other way. And do our third person character, get all third. And a character, so this is a character actually, this thing that we already have. And characters usually already have it's kind of like a subclassed pawn. Get all actors of class, third person character. We only have one, we should only have one, get just the first one. And we're going to possess that person, or possess, I can't spell. Go. So it's kind of like we're switching to the box, we're switching back type thing. And you could, I'll actually show you here in a second. Play. So now our default pawn or character, we press 1, we switch to, see it switched kind of ownership, so you can see that camera was taken over, but there's no input mapping because a pawn is like a dumb thing, you don't know, so you have to set that up manually. If we press 2, we go back to our character, 1, 2. But you could set it up so like once you collide in that little box sphere and you press E, then you like hop in the car. And then if you press E again, you hop out. And then I'll actually go ahead and show you I guess a smarter one, kind of maybe what you would like to do. There's a cool little prefab, just so we can have our controls. Add new, content pack, we're going to do a vehicle. So this is kind of like what you were doing just a second ago. Sorry this is taking long, I just wanted to kind of explain what you're doing rather than just throwing it at you. So this is should be a character. It is a pawn, but the nice thing is that it has all of its controls mapped out. It already has a camera. It already has everything that you would want. So we're going to tweak that little player controller. Go back to our player controller. And instead of saying our box pawn, we'll do that car. And I don't know what class was that. Vehicle. Vehicle. There we go. But the nice thing is, like I said, all of it should be might have to save it first. Vehicle. Sometimes it get all actors of class. Vehicle. Get. There we go. Sometimes blueprints is kind of finicky. So now we're going to start. It's not possessed right now, but it's still a working thing. We hit 1, we possessed it, and now we can mess around. Go over to the corner, and I'm going to hit 2 to go back to our player. And that's kind of, so possession and possessing pawns is kind of the key behind what your question was asking. And of course you can set it up. Hope that was helpful, and have fun with your game.